Hello and welcome to Blockchain Gaming World with me, John Jordan. So we are now into 2022. So let's look back at 2021 and see what was happening in terms of blockchain game activity. In particular, I'm looking at on-chain activity here. So this is looking at daily wallet activity and ranking the top, really looking at sort of the top 10-ish games. So when you look at the raw data, this is data taken from DappRadar. So I just went to DappRadar and downloaded all their data, all the data for these products. So you can just do that from, you get the with a CVS data dump, and you just put it into Excel, and then you can create these graphs. So that's what I've done, and we can see here. This is the I've taken like the top the top 3 blockchain games. And then 3 projects that sort of came and went during 2021. So as I say, this is on-chain activity. So on the vertical scale here, we have daily active unique wallets. So this is the number of wallets that are being seen on interacting with the smart contracts of the games on the blockchain. So if I have 1 wallet and I interact twice, that just counts as 1 wallet. If I have 2 wallets and interact twice in the day, that counts as 2 wallets. So there is some sort of double counting, and obviously there's loads of bots and stuff like that, but we're not worrying about that. It's just sort of the raw data. So as you see at the start of the month for the first quarter, this is split into quarters, nothing happened at all, really. Very little activity. And then we have in April, we have sort of the explosion, the first big blockchain game over, well, really it's over sort of 50,000, 100,000, 200,000, 300,000 Alien Worlds, which mainly runs on the Wax blockchain, also has a sort of a mini game on the Binance Smart Chain as well. So that was the first big sort of exploding blockchain game. And personally, I consider there to be sort of 3 successful blockchain games at the moment, which is Alien Worlds, Splinterlands, and Axie Infinity, at least in terms of on-chain activity. And sort of we'll look at them in a bit more detail. But that was the sort of big explosion. Then we had a sort of some 3 other ones here. So Crypto Mines, Crypto Blades, and Arc 8, which are sort of more like token farming projects. We've seen a lot of that in second half of 2021. Sorry. I guess those are things we could sort of call GameFi. That's been a lot happening on Binance Smart Chain in particular. But this sort of idea, it's not a lot of games, quite a lot of sort of farming of tokens. But in a sense, Alien Worlds was that as well to begin with. Before it sort of became more of a game. But anyway, this looks a bit messy, so let's sort of fiddle around with the thickness of the lines. At least we can kind of see a bit better what's going on. So these are the 3 sort of blockchain games that I consider to be successful. Only really consider 3. My rough rule of thumb is you have over sort of 250,000 daily active unique wallets for over 6 months, which these games do have, or give or take. So Alien World, we can see here, as I say, was the first one. It sort of had a lot of volatility, so we had a lot of bots here. They sort of got rid of the bots. It sort of grew, and then we have another peak here. So these sort of peaks, and it sort of goes down again. It's actually dropping off a little bit now. So 200,000 daily active unique wallets, but we can see there for most of the year, or at least a good chunk of the year, Alien Worlds was the biggest, most popular blockchain game. And it's sort of interesting because there's not a vast amount of game there, although more sort of coming. It's quite meta in the way the sort of game works, but it's quite been interesting how it's sort of sustained this quite high level of activity, and the token price hasn't really gone up or down too much, which is again is interesting. I'm going to do another video looking at Alien Worlds in a bit more detail because that's been going for a year now. We also have Splinterlands here in red. We can see Splinterlands has actually been around for a long time. The start of the year was the most successful blockchain game with about 8,000 daily active unique wallets. So we can see here we get some idea of the growth of the blockchain game sector in 2021. That we went from sort of games at best having 10,000 DAUs up to sort of hundreds of thousands. Splinterlands was the sort of, I guess, the best example of that. It's sort of the deepest game, so it's like a trading card game, like a simplified version of Splinterlands to a degree. Sorry, a simplified version of Hearthstone. And it added its SPS token, its governance token, with a staking mechanic and an airdrop, daily airdrop, and this is what really grew the project. Kind of what's that? 40-fold, getting on for 40-fold. It's like a 30-fold, I suppose. So again, we have this sort of big rising peak. There's a peak here, then it sort of drops down a little bit. Quite a lot of volatility. Again, sort of bots are I wouldn't say an issue in Splinterlands, but there are bots in there. and they're sort of, as with these games, you have to just deal with bots. It's a kind of whack-a-mole sort of situation. But anyway, Springlands sort of from crossed over with Alien Worlds in September, and then since then it's pretty much been the most popular blockchain game, with about 300,000 or above 300,000 daily active unique wallets. Then in yellow here we have Axie Infinity. So this is the big change for Axie Infinity in terms of on-chain activity was in sort of June, July, when the Ronin blockchain, its own sort of Ethereum sidechain, its own Ethereum scaling solution, went live, and that obviously got a lot of people, more people sort of trading, and then we have another sort of peak here into November when the staking mechanics start happening. So you can stake the AXX token, you can start yield farming for the Ronin token as well. So that's what's driven Axie Infinity. So about 100,000 daily active unique wallets there. Obviously for Axie Infinity, most of the activity, like whatever it is now, 2.5 million DAUs, is happening off chain. So that's just happening, people are just playing the game and not interacting on an actual blockchain at all. They're just playing like a normal game would be. But here we're looking at on-chain activities. That's why there's a difference. This is people trading NFTs, breeding axes, doing DeFi stuff with the tokens. That's what we're measuring here. So I've taken these other spikes off or hidden them a little bit. So let's go back and have a look at those. So another big characteristic in 2021 were these what I'm sort of calling sort of GameFi type projects, or we can think of them as sort of token farming projects, token distribution projects. And the first big one was Crypto Blades. So this is running on the Binance Smart Chain, and it was a very simple game. You could basically come in, buy some NFTs. There's a very basic sort of game where you just played your character NFT, and you need to have a character and a sword. You choose a character and a sword. You then go and fight other people, other enemies. Basically probabilistic whether you win or lose. And if you win, you get some XP, and you get this token, the skill token. And basically, the skill token got went up in price a lot. A lot of speculation around that. Lots of people started playing because you could make money doing that. So the price of the NFTs was sort of below what you could earn out of the skill token, and the skill token was going up a lot. So you see this massive increase in activity, mainly driven by bots in the early phase. But what tends to happen in these sort of situations is the token price just becomes too much of a boom sort of situation. People are putting too much value in, and at some point equilibrium has to happen, and these economies just explode because there's no real reason to keep the token. So the problem is people are earning the skill token, or they're sort of extracting the skill token from the ecosystem, selling it off on PancakeSwap or whatever, and then getting back, selling it for Binance BNB token or something like that. There's no reason to keep the skill token in the game. There's no reason to sort of stake it, and there's no reason, you can't really start buying land or castles or anything like that. So these things tend to be very up and down, boom and bust. There's lots of speculation about whether these things are sort of designed specifically to be scams. I'm not sure in this case that this was designed to be a scam, although I just think mainly it's inexperience. Although there could be some sort of rug pull type stuff going on there. I suppose I haven't looked into it in enough detail. We just be very careful of these sort of things, and we've seen a few of them. So we've seen Crypto Blade, so it goes up and then sort of collapses. And there's still a few people playing it. To be honest, they've gone to a few different blockchains, but it's basically a fraction of what it was at one point. The most popular blockchain game for maybe 2 weeks. Sort of a similar thing with Crypto Mines again on Binance Smart Chain. This is this darker green here, and again it's sort of not quite as big as Crypto Blades. The thing is, when people get burnt by this, when people are sort of starting to buy in the NFTs and starting to get the token at this stage before the token price collapses, then obviously they are not very happy about that, and that sort of the good thing about that is it stops people doing it again, I suppose. So Crypto Mines wasn't quite so explosive, but it's broadly the similar thing happens. So we end up with over 200,000 daily active unique wallets. Sort of a collapse, not quite as violent a collapse here. At least there's some sort of a plateau here, and then it just goes basically down to zero. I put ARC8 in a slightly different sort of situation here. So this was basically a way of earning a token that hadn't been released yet. So this was a very specific sort of token distribution mechanic, and it's for a sort of a casual mobile game platform, and they have a token called the Game token, or Gamey token, I suppose. And people were basically mining out this token. You were limited to 50, I think 50 Gamey tokens, which is it was about $25. So it wasn't like a lot of money being involved. It wasn't people spending in here for Crypto Blade. You could spend thousands of dollars to try and earn more money out. With this one, you basically they were giving them stuff away for free. So it's free to play. You were just sort of pressing a button to sort of earn this currency. So so a different sort of mechanic. It wasn't it's a proper project, it's not a scam or anything. And basically what happened was the people earned the token, and then the platform actually went live. So it's live now on mobile apps, app stores, Google Play and Apple App Store. But we can see the sort of people actually playing this is a fraction of who are sort of earning out this token. So in a sense, this was sort of a marketing ploy to sort of get people playing this platform, and it's basically a reward platform. So you play these mini games, or you play these very short, casual, hyper casual games, really, and you can win some of these tokens, which obviously you can cash out. So that's what's going on there. So this is for like I say, sort of the big games, or the games that had a lot of audience, or for a short period of time had a lot of audience. Oh, there's this one here as well. So we're going through another cycle here of these three that sort of blew up very quickly, and then for various reasons sort of went away again. This one's just started now. So this is called Sunflower Farmers. It's on the Polygon blockchain, and just really since on Boxing Day, the 26th of December, this has just blown up. We can see it's got, it has got pretty big. Again, this isn't a scam in the sense that there are sort of real people behind this, as a team out of Australia, I think. But again, it's a sort of a farming sort of mechanic where you basically are farming out a token, and it's just got very big very quickly. It's actually running on Polygon. It's actually sort of messing up. It's congesting the entire Polygon blockchain at the moment, which isn't working particularly well. And that's because this is just blown up, and now the problem when growth happens this fast is it becomes quite hard to sort of maintain that. So even if we look here at Splinterlands was an existing game that had been going for like 2 years, and it didn't have this sort of level of growth. It grew pretty quickly, but then sort of stabilized. Alien Worlds again had been around for a few months before it had this big increase. Got rid of some bots, managed to sort of stabilize itself. The problem with this sort of thing is that is quite hard to do. I've not really looked at Sunflower Farmers as a sort of game to see quite what the game mechanics are, but I just I just sort of warning. I don't think it's a scam, but I think these things can just sort of blow up under their own sort of momentum because people are just putting too much value in. We had some other games that weren't quite at the same level. So this, you can see here on the graph, this is up to like 500,000. So this is basically hundreds of thousands of daily active unique wallets. This one here is this is 20,000 to 100,000. So these are smaller projects. I guess the big one here, or the one that was going building most slowly, was Upland. So it's like a Monopoly style game, mobile game running on the EOS blockchain, and sort of going through these undulating sort of growth sort of cycles. Dropped off a little bit to about 30,000 into November. They had quite a strong Q4, so I had this big spike here. Not quite sure what was going on there with 100,000 DAUs just for a day, but it's up to now 60,000. So it's a pretty interesting sort of growth cycle. They raised some more money. It's an interesting project that they're always building out. It's always got a lot of features. They're a bit limited because they're going through the app stores, so they're not very open blockchain. They have to go through deal with a lot of restrictions. So, but anyway, Upland is doing pretty well. Obviously, started the year off down here about 5,000 daily active unique wallets. So, so it's pretty impressive growth. That's 10x over 10x. We also have Farmers World running on the Wax blockchain. Has this sort of certain amount of volatility. Again, it is one of these more sort of GameFi sort of things. You're farming out a token, but as basically sort of had this explosive growth, then basically sort of kept its growth going. We'll see where it goes. But it's been doing it for a few months now, so interesting there. Crazy Defense Heroes running on Polygon. At the moment, this isn't a game. This is more like a token distribution model. Some farming going on there. So it's a game from Animoca. It will be a game from Animoca Brands. It is actually a mobile game, a non-blockchain mobile game. But if you play the game, you can earn some of these tower tokens. And they're going to build a game around the tower tokens later in 2022. So that's done pretty well, up to 40,000. And then another new one that's just been happening in Q4 is DeFi Kingdoms running on the Harmony blockchain. So that's an EVM, so an Ethereum compatible blockchain called Harmony. And again, that's a sort of more of a GameFi sort of thing. I'm not looked into it in a lot of detail yet, but it's interesting that it's having growth, but not this sort of crazy explosive growth that we sort of saw, which I think is quite dangerous. So the growth there has had some strong periods, but it's generally been quite steady. A token there is called the Jewel token, which has just entered the top 100. So it's interesting to see. I guess we have these 3 big projects that have done very well in 2022, and I guess what's interesting in 2021. Sorry, what's interesting in 2022 is how many of these, where do these ones go? These sort of slow building ones, can they get up to the sort of hundreds of thousands of daily active unique wallets, or are they going to sort of sit in the tens of thousands? So that's sort of what I'm looking for. I will just point out there is this project called Mobox, which is also around doing, it's really odd. It's running on Binance Smart Chain. It's more like a platform. It has games in it. It has sort of DeFi. It has sort of NFT marketplaces and farming. There's a whole bunch of weird stuff going on in there. I mean, not weird, but there's a whole bunch of stuff going on. It's not a game itself. It's a sort of platform. And it has these very weird sort of daily usage spikes. So it's every few days you get this massive spike, and then it basically falls down to nothing, which sort of worries me a little bit. I assume this is sort of bots and farming activity. And so I've not put that in to the main graphs because I just, one, it looks really odd and you can't really see what's going on with the other ones. And 2, if you look at the bottom, it wasn't always like that. It's always a bit spiky, but you've had these sudden sort of explosions and then it goes down to sort of very low levels, and these low levels aren't increasing. So that just strikes me as being slightly, maybe suspicious is the wrong word, but slightly odd behaviour going on there. So I don't include that in the main graph. So anyway, so that was going on in 2021. Obviously, this is just looking at sort of a on-chain wallet activity. We're not looking at value or any of that sort of stuff what we've seen clearly with NFTs and a lot of token prices going through the roof. So this is looking, I guess, from a bit more of a actually what was going on rather than what the speculation that was happening. So hopefully that gives you a good overview that there are blockchain games that are small ones that are growing, and there are some very big ones that have seen enormous growth and are sort of maintaining that growth. It's still not millions of daily active unique wallets. So there's still some ways to go. I guess that's what we're looking for in some of these bigger games into 2022 to actually get millions of users on a sort of at least a sort of monthly basis, or certainly moving on to a daily basis or weekly basis to see growth sort of everywhere. But all these are different projects and they all have sort of slightly different growth mechanics. So anyway, thanks for watching. Please subscribe to the channel and see you again soon.